we are in Portion-Toldot. The ArtScroll, just to run through it, he says an interesting thing, pulling it down from Rambam, and so I'll read it, but it's a very interesting concept. So each of the patriarchs maintained a yeshiva in which he taught about the existence of God and his will. Abraham's academy had hundreds, if not thousands of students. Isaac had an academy of one. That's it. His lone student was Yaakov, whom he trained and appointed to teach others. This provides a clue to the way in which Isaac's role diverged from that of Abraham. Abraham could accept everyone into his orbit. Isaac could not. The Torah devotes much less space to Isaac's life than to the lives of Abraham and Yaakov. On the one hand, Yitzchak seems to be but a bridge between his father and his son. On the other hand, he had the task of drawing the line between good and evil as represented by Yaakov and Esav, because the emerging nation of Israel could not be a mixture of good and evil. In contrast to Avram, whose primary characteristic was chesed, or kindness, Yitzchak's was gevurah, or strength. One requires strength to differentiate between good and evil, and then to purge the bad and nurture the good. Isaac and Rebekah produced two sons. One became the personification of righteousness, and the other one the personification of wickedness. And it was a lot of the parents to make the distinction to let the nation of Israel, so that the nation of Israel would be pure. Lest one think that Isaac discarded Avram's way in favor of his own, the Torah stresses at the very beginning of the Sidra that Isaac was the son of Avram. Avram begot Isaac. In this Jewish scheme of life, kindness and strength must go together. Either one without the other can be dangerous. Kindness not tempered by strength can lead to self-indulgence and hedonism, and strength without kindness can lead to selfishness and cruelty. So this is ArtScroll's opening of this parsha. They've made a decision, and they follow Chazal for this. It's not like they've made it up their own, that Yaakov is the paradigm of virtue, while Esav is the paradigm of wickedness. But when you're going through the parsha, it seems just the opposite. That's the truth of it. It seems the way the Torah paints Esav is not such a bad guy. Esav goes out, he gives his father from the hunt, he comes home, his brother has him sell, he comes home hungry, ready to die, famished, and his brother Yaakov, again the paradigm of virtue, the tzaddik, tells him, okay, so sell me your birthright or drop dead, your choice. Sure. And of course I'll say fine. And then later on, his father says to him, go out, get me some hunt, and I'll give you a bracha. The mother overhears it, tells Yaakov, go out. And he says, but my father, when he fills me, I may realize that I'm not me. Then it'll curse me. And the mother says, don't worry about it, it's on me. And what does he do? He goes in, are you Esav? I am Esav, your firstborn. She says, I am Esav. Again, Rashi will say, Esav is firstborn, and so on and so forth. But seemingly he's lying through his teeth. He's using tricks of the trade. And his father says, he came to me b'mirma, which really means deceit. That's what mirma means, deceit. Rashi will enter, and Chazal will say it means chachma, with wisdom. So there's a rewrite. Okay, and then you have in the end of the parsha, you're going to have Yaakov is told he has to go out to marry somebody from the family. They never told Esav to do it. Yet Esav, hearing that he has not that he married the wrong girls, well, he doesn't divorce his first two wives. He goes to Yishmael and gets the family from the Yishmael, which is the Abrahamic family. So he's trying, again, you see that he seems to be playing catch-up. Even though he's the firstborn, he seems to be playing catch-up, and he seems to be the sad character of the whole story. He doesn't seem to be a wicked person, just shot. Again, the rabbis, we'll find out why the rabbis say he's the evil incarnate, but just on the story, He's a regular guy. And as a matter of fact, like I said, Yaakov comes off looking very bad. Just simple storyline. Okay, let's start. So it says, Ve'ela Toldot Yitzchak ben Avram. These are the generations of Yitzchak, the son of Avram. Avram, hold it at Yitzchak. Avram gave birth to Yitzchak. We have to hear this because when was Yitzchak born? Only after the Avimelech incident, right? After Avimelech, in other words, for 99 years, Avram got married to Sarah when she was 65, or around there. So for all those years, from 65 to 99 to 90, she did not have children. Normally, after we learned before, when she hit 75, she gave Hagar, and then because after 10 years of not having a child, so you're supposed to remarry. We don't rule like that today. We don't do that. But after 10 years, without being with a woman, without having a child, so since we have a mitzvah of having children, it says we're supposed to divorce our present wife and marry a new one so we can fulfill the mitzvah. Fine. Again, we don't rule like that, but that's where they were coming from. So after 10 years, he gets Hagar. Instantly, he gets pregnant with Hagar. So it was shown that he wasn't sterile. Okay, it was on Sarah. So Sarah doesn't have a child. Suddenly at 90, she has a child. Okay, fine. Now you have a child. And so, when did she get pregnant? Only after the Avimelech incident. So people were saying, and on top of that, there's an argument, how many months later was Yitzchak born? Was he born 7 months later, or was he born 9 months later, after the event? Which, regardless of this thing, people were saying, this is not Avram's baby, this is Avimelech's baby. So what happened was, Hashem made it that Yitzchak would be the spitting image of Avraham. So once that happened, so that's why it says Yitzchak was the son of Avram, and Avram begat Yitzchak. Everybody would look at Yitzchak would say, "Oh, this is Avram's kid." Okay, fine. Now, Vayi Yitzchak ben Arvim Shana b'kachto Rivka. Now Yitzchak was 40 years old when he took his wife Rivka, the daughter of Betuel, the Aramean, from Padan Aram, the Achot Lavan, the sister of Lavan, Arami the Aramite, Lodi Yishav, to himself for his wife. First, the question is, why do you wait till he's 40? It says, Shmona Esher the chuppah. 20, when you're 18, you should be going for a chuppah, not 40 years old. So what took so long? Well, he had the Akedah at 37, right? When he went to the Akedah, he was 37. So that's when that's when Rivka was born. So you have to wait 3 years. You can't marry a little girl. You have to wait till she's 3 years. At that point, when she's 3 years old, the rabbis say, at that point, well, you're not going to have relations with a 3-year-old. She is at least, if somebody would have relations with a 3-year-old, their hymen would remain broken, and that would be the end of it. So from 3 years old is what we call roy labia. You're fit for sexual relations, even though obviously you're not going to do it with a 3-year-old. Hopefully, you're not going to do it with a 3-year-old. Okay, no matter how mature she may be, you're not going to do it. So but he at that point can now give her kedushin, right? He can marry her. They can make the transactions. Fine. So she's 3 years old. She comes now. Again, they're not going to. You can't have a baby at 3 years old. So he has to wait 10 years before he can do anything. So now he's going to be 50 years old when he starts with her. And then it's going to take another 10 years of realizing, well, after that, 10 years, that's when he davens, and they have a child when he's 60. That's why he got married at 40. That's why he waited so long. He had to find his beshert. The beshert becomes the right age, fine. Then they get married. Now, what's the specialty about Rivka? One, she was fighting all of the evils here. She was coming from an evil father, an evil brother, and an evil place. And she still came out, a tzaddikus, fit to marry Yitzchak. That's who we're dealing with. Okay? So now again, you're fast forwarding 20 years later, and it says, V'yeta Yitzchak la'Hashem l'nochach ishto, that Yitzchak davened to Hashem opposite his wife, namely he was in one corner, his wife was in another corner, as the rabbis say, ki akarahi, because he realized that she couldn't get pregnant. Hashem listened to him, not to her. Interestingly enough, to him. Why did he listen to him? Because he was a tzaddik, the son of a tzaddik, and she was a tzaddikus, the daughter of a wicked. So when Hashem has a choice to who to listen to, Rashi says, well, the Gemara say, Hashem is going to listen to the righteous, the son of the righteous, versus the righteous, the daughter of the wicked. And so his wife becomes pregnant. And here's where the beginning starts. The boys, the sons fought, or the children fought within her inside. And she said, Lama zanochi, what is this? What do I need this for? And she went to seek out the answer from Hashem. What was going on? Here you have a pregnant woman, and Rashi says that when she would pass a house of Avodah Zarah, so that's when Esav would knocking, as it were, wants to run to get to the place. When she would go to the past Yeshiva Shem Ve'ever, that's when Yaakov would try to get out. And it was a constant fight. So she, according to Rashi, according to the Gemara, again, he's only quoting the Gemara here. So she said, what's going on? I have this kid, she doesn't know if she has twins. She says this child doesn't know what he wants to do.
A lot of kicking going on.
Right, doesn't know what he wants to do. Is he going to Avodah Zarah? Is he going to this? Is he going to Hashem? And if that's the case, what am I bringing the child up for? That's, by the way, that's Rashi. You ask anybody, they're going to tell you here. It's all right here even. The rabbis explain, right, what I just said, fine. Gur Ari explains that this embryonic Jacob, Esav's struggle was not influenced by their personal good and evil inclinations, but they were not present for they're not present. Rather, Yaakov and Esav represent cosmic forces in creation, forces that transcend the natural course of personality development and that even exists before birth. Every single person you ask will know this midrash. What they don't know is what I'm going to tell you now. According to the Bechor Shor, what happened was, her children something was happening in her womb, the womb, right? The womb. Something happened in her womb. She felt something, and then she didn't, and she said, "Wait a second, did I just lose my children?" That was her question. Are my children? Did I just lose? I feel something, but it's wrong. It's not what it should be doing. She asked people around, "Is this what it's like?" Fine, and they said no, and she said, so, did I just lose my children? Did I just miscarry? If so, why did Hashem make me pregnant? Why would he do this to me? And she went to ask Hashem, as it were. In other words, the yeshiva. What's happening to the doctor? She went, is he all right? Is he not all right? It's a very interesting thing that the Bechor Shor's mission was to look at the simple explanation of the text. The simplest possible. So it was, when you say that the two boys were fighting in the wombs, one was shooting for Shem and Aver, one was shooting for Avodah Zarah, there's going to be a cosmic fight and so on and so forth. That's because we know the end of the story. But when it comes to Pshat, what's going on? Why is she running to Hashem? Why did you go to her husband? Say, Yitzchak, I have this problem. What do you say? You're a Navi? What do you say? No, she doesn't do that. She is worried that Chas v'Shalom she lost the baby. And that's why she says, Im came. If so, that I lost the baby, Lama zanochi. Why is this happening? That I became pregnant. You hear? That's what Bechor Shor is saying. Fascinating Bechor Shor on that one. Vayomer Hashem la. And that's the only time you're going to hear this online. I guarantee you. Who's ever listening, they'll never hear that again. Okay? So Vayomer Hashem la. So Hashem answered her. And again, that's Shem Ve'ever. The yeshiva answered her. Shnei goyim v'vitnech. You have two nations in your womb. And the two nations will separate from your womb. And one nation will be stronger than the other. Rav Yavot Seir, and the older one will serve the younger. Now that is something, of course, that sets up the eternal struggle. Because who should serve the younger? Who should serve whom? The younger should serve the elder. Right? That's always the way it is. And here you have is being prophesied that the younger will be the boss over the older one. Okay. So, Vayimlu Yameh Leledet. And what happened was, now, by the way, what's going on here, again, Bechor Shor is saying they were just calming her down. They're saying, don't worry, you have twins, and now the prophecy is what's going to happen. So they said, don't worry, rest assured it's going to happen, fine. So now the Torah testifies, the days were fulfilled to have birth, to give birth. In other words, she had a normal 9-month pregnancy. Okay? And there were twins in her womb. So the first one comes out red, fully red. How does he say it? Emerged red, that's what they say, okay. Kulo kader tsear, all with a very hairy mantle, fine. Vayikru, and they, why is it they? Called him Shemo, they called his name Esav. Why is it they? It should be Vayikra. He called. Yitzchak called him Esav. Why is it they called? So Rashi explains that, I think it's Rashi, yeah. Hakol karulo kain. Everybody called him that because he was fully made. So that was, everybody saw that and said, wow, Esav, Asu, comes from Asa, Asu, he was made. Play on words here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that before. I didn't know that.
Okay. That's how he gets Esav. And afterwards, Achiv, his brother comes out. And how's his brother coming out? That he's holding, the brother's hand is holding the heel of Esav. He's holding it. Now, I don't know how this actually works, but okay, fine, I'll take it. The Torah says it. It's a story. You have to go with the story. Yeah. They came one after another, boom, and he's holding it on. Rashi says, what was he holding on for? Because he's saying, no, I'm first, you're not. Get back in here. Okay. And he compares it to, Rashi gives an explanation like this, an interesting explanation. He said, if you look at a he didn't say a bottle, like a test tube, and a narrow bottom, and you put in the first stone, and then you put in the second stone, which stone will come out the first? The first one or the second?
Oh, the second?
The second. So he said, Esav was really the second drop of semen. And really, Yaakov was the firstborn. But because he was firstborn, so he couldn't come out first. Now, we're not going to get into that, whether that's... I'm not going to say that's...
Because both embryos are attaching themselves. So theoretically, I can see that.
Right,
it's an interesting discussion. It's very interesting.
Like I said, I'm not going to argue that one way or another. Because I know that scientists would be saying, or doctors would say, it doesn't work.
But you can hear where he's coming from.
Right. So that's what he's saying. So he was holding it, saying, no, you have to come back. And Vayikra Shmo Yaakov. He called his name Yaakov. Who called his name Yaakov? Was it Yitzchak? And Rashi says, no, Hashem. Hashem, you said, you called your firstborn, I'll call my firstborn. So Hashem, according to Rashi, called him for Yaakov. But really, you have to say that that Yitzchak called him Yaakov, based on this event.
Who did we say was they?
They were the people all around. Everybody around. Everybody saw him. Vayikra, and they said, oh, this is Esav. He's fully made. Okay. And so everybody called him out. So listen.
So hairy.
Here, he looks like, the expression is, give him a suitcase and he can go to work. Okay. I think that's the suitcase. That's the expression. Okay. But Yitzchak ben Shishim Shana, and again, Yitzchak was 60 years old, when they were both born. Now, again, I gave you that before, that he realized she was not getting pregnant, so on and so forth. So he davens, and that's why. But he got married to her. He started to have relations with her when she was an adult of 13, actually a little less probably. But then when she was fit to have children, 12, 13, then he prayed for her, and she had a child finally. Now what happens? This is a very important line too. The boys grew up. Now what happens? This is a very strange line. They grew up. We have to hear that they grew up. What happened? So Rashi says, all the time that they were young, People didn't recognize their natures because they were young, so nobody really looked at them. It was only when they became bar mitzvah, if you will. So that's when one goes to Bate Midrasho. That's when Yaakov will go to the shul, to the school, and that's when Esav will go to Rishus, to go to evil. But that's why it has to say, while they were young, they just saw them as, they would just see Esav as a mischievous young man. Okay? But that's about it. He's still growing up. So Esav became a man who knew how to hunt, the man in the field. Yaakov was an ishtam, a simple guy, which means that he didn't know how to trick people. It was tamimus with him. That's where they get that's tamim, a completeness, a complete innocence, and so on and so forth. He didn't know how to lie. That's what it would be. Of course, he learns. Apparently, he learns. But again, going with Pshat, he seems to learn. But Yaakov Ishtam, he was a young man. He was a simple man. Yoshev Halim, sitting in tents. Now, again, this is an interesting Bechor Shor. Bechor Shor says that Yaakov was a shepherd who was sitting in tents, just as shepherds sit in tents. He sat in a tent, and what was he doing in the tent all day? He had nothing to do, so that's why he would learn. He was learning like that. But it wasn't that he went to the Yeshiva Shem Ve'ever, or he was sitting with his father, and so it was. He's taking this literally. He was one taking care of the sheep, and which would be far away from where they live, right? You didn't shepherd the sheep where you live. You did it away from that. And Esav was the one who was going out. He knew how to hunt. Fine. Now Yitzchak loved Esav because he would say bepiv, a hunter with his mouth. Well, that's one way to say it. Or because he put the hunt into his mouth. In other words, he fed him venison. So why did Yitzchak love Esav? So, and Sayed Bepiv, by the way, is where the rabbis come up with he was a Rasha. This is really the beginning of his rishus. Why? Because he said, Rashi brings down the famous Midrash, which says, he would ask his father, I have this salt and I have this straw, so I want to know, how do I have to give Maisa for it? I want to tithe it. And of course you don't tithe salt. So the father said, wow, this guy is so medayik in mitzvot, so careful in mitzvot that he wants to even give meiser for salt. Okay, fine. So he thinks that because of the question that his son is asking, by the way, the Tanchuma picks up on that and says, Yaakov asks him, where did you learn Meiser? He says, I heard it from my Rebbe, basically. Well, we have to give Meiser, so I want to know, do you have to give Meiser for this too? And that's, oh, you're such a tzaddik. Okay. So that's where the rabbis say he was a tzaddik. At Sayed Bepiv, he hunted with his mouth. He knew how to beguile. He knew how to trick you. So that's one thing. Simply put, Yitzchak liked the hunt. Why? Because it's fresh meat. Unlike every other type of meat, if you're going to put it away, you're not good. But here he's an expert hunter, so he loved his son because his son provided him with food. And he was a rich man. He liked good stuff. It wasn't, he didn't get beef fry from the store. He wanted nice stuff. But Rivka ohevet et Yaakov, and Rivka loved Yaakov. And here the Bechor Shor again says that, I think it's the Bechor Shor that says, each parent has the one they like. A little more than the other. It's just natural. Okay, fine. No parent will ever admit that to the children, but nonetheless. Okay, Rashi, by the way, does not explain anything about that except for Sayed Bepiv. He says he loved him because Sayed Bepiv. That's it. But it's everything else he doesn't get involved with. Okay, so now we come to the story. V'yazid Yaakov nazib. So Yaakov was making a lentil soup. Why was he making a lentil soup? Because Rashi explained, Avram Avinu died that day. And Yaakov was making this soup in order that for his father, because he has to be Menachem Avel. And when you're going to be Menachem Avel, when you're going to comfort the mourner, so what do? You bring him food. What kind of food you bring him? You bring him either eggs or lentils. Why those things? Because they're round and they symbolize, just as the egg or the lentil has no mouth, as it were. So in other words, it has no opening. So also the mourner has no opening, which we will learn that a mourner is not allowed to say Shalom Aleichem and so on and so forth. And we shouldn't say it to them either, because they shouldn't be entering us. We should wait for them. Okay, all these laws of mourning come from that. So the rabbis, again, Rashi is bringing down from the Gemara, that it is a matter of he was sitting there, he was preparing the food for his father. Okay? Bechor Shor, I love the Bechor Shor, that's why I read it, I was like, wow, I've never seen this stuff before. Yeah, he takes it very nicely. He said, going on what he said before, Asa, when it says Yaakov Ishtam Yoshev Alem, he was sitting in the tent, simple guy, it means he was taking care of the sheep. So what happens? You get hungry. So you prepare your lentil, you prepare what you're eating there. It wasn't because Avram died. It had nothing to do with Avraham. He had food. Okay? By the way, the other thing, for going back to Rashi, it says Avram died this day, right? And so then it says this is also the day that Esav murdered his first person. So why did Avram have to die that day? Because God said you'll die in an old age, a happy old age. And everything will be good. Everybody does teshuvah. So he never saw Esav go off the derech. They say that Esav killed because he saw that his grandfather, the tzaddik, died. If he wouldn't have seen that, so then he may not have killed. So it's an interesting juxtaposition. Which came first? What was happening here? And regardless, I mean, that's what they're arguing back and forth. But let's continue. So again, he made, whatever reason he had a lentil stew, he had a lentil stew. Bechor Shor, again, he was just there, and because he was shepherding the sheep, and he wanted to eat. And then you have Rashi in the Gemara that says that it was because Avram died that day. So what happens? V'yavo Esav in Sadeh v'hu Esav came from the field and he was tired, and so here he says he was on a hunt. And a hunt would sometimes take 3-4 days without food. You're hungry, you're tired, you're famished. Okay. Vayom Esav el Yaakov. So Esav said to Yaakov, feed me, pour down this food. I don't even have the energy to eat the food myself. Just pour it down this red stuff down my throat, because I'm tired. Al can't crush more Edom. Therefore, they called his name Edom. Why Edom? Making fun of him. He said, give me this red stuff. So they called him Red. From that point on, because of what he does. He sells his birthright for a pot of lentils. Okay? So what happens? Yaakov sees his brother and he says, okay, you're tired, you're about to drop dead. Tell me what. I'll tell you what. I'll sell me your birthright today, like today. So how could he say that? Here's your brother. Here's everybody's question. He's a brother. My God, your brother's coming. You're making lentil soup. Even if it is for your father, who cares? Okay, give him something to eat. He's hungry. What's your problem? What are you starting to getting into this selling bit? Bechor Shor, again, says a beautiful forwardness. He said, Yaakov went through a thought process. He said, okay, Tzaddik, if you drop dead today, then I inherit you. Right? Because you're the firstborn. So if you drop dead, then I inherit what you would have received. All the property, everything else, I get the blessings, I get everything. Because you won't be here. It's not to my advantage to save you. It's not. I'm losing money here. It's not good business. So I'll tell you what. If you really want to eat and you want to live, so I'll sell you this stuff, but you have to. I'll give you the stuff for what I would have got anyway. That way you live, I live, we all live, we all be peaceful. But it's not. You understand? That's b'chol shor. It's not to my advantage to sell it to you, to give it to you. If you want, because otherwise you'll be alive. I won't get what I want. That's b'chol shor. Okay. You hear what he's saying though? It's an interesting thing. He went psychologically on this. This doesn't make sense. Why should I sell it? When it comes to Rashi, he says, Yaakov said, no, you don't deserve the Bechor because you're a killer. You do this, you're a wicked person. So he says, well, what's the Bechor for anyway? He said, well, it's a service to Hashem and so on and so forth. And he said, Yaakov, so next line, the Yomer Esav says, Hinei Anochi olech lamud. I'm going to go to die. Where's he going to die? It means, according to Rashi, following Rashi for 1 second, it means if I keep this Bechorah, and especially with the way I live, I'm going to die on this Bechorah. It's not worth it. Lama lezi Bechorah. What do I need this Bechorah for? I don't need the rights to the firstborn. It's only inheritance anyway. If you go to Bechor Shor, he says to his brother, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. What do I need the Bechorah for? Take the Bechorah. Leave me alone. I want my food. Either way, it's an interesting argument they're having. So Vayomer Yaakov says, Shishavali Kayom, swear to me like it's today, okay? Like today, it's just clear I want it done. Vayishav alone, he swore to him, Vayimkov Bechorot to Yaakov, and he sold the Bechor to Yaakov. What happens? Yaakov natan Esav. So Yaakov gives it to Esav, the food to Esav, lechem nizir, bread and the lentil soup. Vayochal, he ate it. Vayesh, and he drank. Vayakam, he got it. Vayelach, and he went. Vayiviz Esav el Bechor, and Esav despised the Bechor, or not despised. And he says it's spurned. What happened there? Why didn't he care about the birthright? According to Rashi, according to everybody else, he's a Rasha. What do you want? I live today and not tomorrow. That's clear. According to Bechor Shor, why did he do it? Because he said, my father loves me. He's not going to let me lose out anything. I sold it to you. There's a halacha. There's a very clear halacha that if I have a firstborn and I want to give my secondborn stuff, all I do is I give it to him while he's still alive. Then my firstborn has something to say. I know my father loves me more. So it's stupid. You want to buy it, buy what you want. I get it. By the end, it'll be worthless to you in the end. That's what it means. Vayiv they said Bechorah, according to Bechor Shor. So he's painting Esav not so badly. He's not painting him badly. Rashi paints him horribly. The Gemaras paint him horribly. But there's an opinion out there that's not painting him so badly. We'll stop here. Yeah. But it's a fascinating way to look at this stuff.
Sure.